How can ethics be a science? Aristotle was the first philosopher to write detailed books on the sciences of cosmology, physics, animals, psychology, politics, ethics, metaphysics, and many more. For Aristotle, scientific knowledge involves structured, rational, coherent accounts with foundational principles and distinguishing characteristics of a subject matter spelled out in detail in reasoning that explains the natures and activities of things. Let me repeat that. Then, for Aristotle, scientific knowledge involves structured, rationally coherent accounts with foundational principles and distinguishing characteristics of a certain kind of subject matter, all these spelled out in detail with reasoning that explains the natures and activities of things. He distinguished three divisions of the sciences: theoretical science, which has as its goal knowledge; productive science, which has as its goal the making of something external to the science; and practical science, which has as its goal action. The very natures of the knowing and structures of these sciences are different. Theoretical science concerns physics or nature in general, mathematics, and metaphysics. While knowledge from these sciences can be very helpful and useful for our human lives, the goal of the scientist in theoretical sciences is purely to know. The realization of the goal of the science takes place in the knower, not in something outside. At the beginning of his work called Metaphysics, Aristotle writes, "All human beings desire to know." And so theoretical science is a manifestation of that, just as theoretical physics and theoretical cosmology and other sorts of sciences are manifestations of that today. Productive sciences aim at good products or things, such as shoes, clothing, houses, and the like. Its realization is not inside the person using the science, but rather in the product to be produced. Practical sciences aim neither at knowledge for its own sake, like theoretical science, nor at some external product, but rather practical sciences aim at action as their goal. These sciences of action have as their highest political science, which aims at action for the good of all of the people of a city-state, such as Athens. Under or inside political science is the science that aims at what is good or right action for a household or a family. And below that is the science that aims at what is good or right action for an individual person. This last science is ethics. In the case of each science, there are basic foundational principles or first principles, which are so important that the science could not exist without them. In the case of ethics, the first principle is the human ability to decide on one's own actions. That he takes as a foundational assumption for the entire science. In his Nicomachean Ethics, Aristotle first presents in Book 1 various key considerations or aspects of his ethical science, and in later chapters explains and reasons for his views in a coherent, rational way. Much of what Aristotle writes became the basis for our modern conceptions of what is ethically right, though he did make some significant missteps which we have to investigate. Hence, as a science, ethics will involve and require coherent reasoning on the basis of the understanding of the nature of the animal, which has the ability to decide on its own actions, the human animal. This science is formed on the basis of Aristotle's observation of human behavior. That constitutes much of the data of this science, and on his understanding of how human beings are able to form themselves into right and proper actors in the world.